About once every 3 weeks, I get asked about a potential partnership with accessible.org. So, in this presentation titled White Labeling and Referrals, we're going to go over two ways that you can make money with accessible.org services. And if you would like to learn more, you can visit accessible.org/partnerships. And on this opening slide, I do have the certified accessible seal. What prompted this video is yesterday I received an email that reads in part, I was interested in the partner programs. I think you have two options. One may be selling the service and receiving commissions. I'm not sure how the other programs works. Can you explain the two programs and the payment structure? Thank you. So, one option is you refer clients to accessible.org and we take care of everything. You will get 10% of the initial sale, and our sales usually range between $3,000 and $15,000. So, let's say you referred a client, the client purchased $5,000 worth of services, you would get a $500 commission for that sale. So, that's referrals. The other option is white labeling. Here, you become our client. So we're going to sell services directly to you, and then you will turn around and sell those services to your clients. And so you're going to be adding a markup on the turnaround. You are going to take care of everything with the client. We are going to be responsible for fulfilling the services and potentially the documentation, but we will be dealing with you directly. And one requirement here is that unless you have an established agency with a clear client source, you must refer one client to become a white label partner. And that is because it doesn't make sense to establish the formality of a partnership unless you can demonstrate that you can refer clients reliably. So here, the only requirement is that you refer one client first. All right, now let's go over some pros and cons with referrals. So the cons that I have listed are fairly simple. It's just one, you're not building a business asset. And then two, there's likely less money involved because you are taking straight commissions and there's no markup. So here the cons would be less money and no business asset being built up. The pros are that it's much easier to start referring clients. You can do this right now if you want to. All you have to do is tell someone, hey, I really recommend accessible.org. Then just email me and tell me I referred this person. And then you will be set up for a potential commission if the sale closes. So it's very easy to start. You won't have to deal with any clients. Very low liability, really, really low liability, especially compared to white labeling. And there's going to be no setup. Again, I just said that you can start right now. Whereas with white labeling, you're going to need to have a setup. You're probably going to, need to establish some formalcy in operations, et cetera. So there's setup involved with white labeling. And then there's also with referrals, you don't have to worry about mentioning accessible.org. So if you're telling a client that we work with a trusted referral partner, accessible.org, then there you can really, co-brand with accessible.org in a way, and you can establish trust, and that way the clients know that, hey, you're not doing it yourselves, you're working with an established digital accessibility provider. So it makes that part of the referral so much easier. Now, with white labeling pros and cons, this is in a way, in a lot of ways, the inverse here. So the pros are going to be that you're going to have an established business asset, you're going to be able to make more money. But then with the cons, it does become more complicated, especially on the client side, because sometimes with some clients, we go back and forth several times. There are several interactions. And so you're always going to be in the middle of those interactions. And again, we're only going to be dealing with you. We're not going to be dealing with your clients. And then there's also the documentation side. So if we are issuing, let's say, a statement of conformance, we're going to be the named issuer on that document. Now, this doesn't mean that you can't let the client know ahead of time, like, hey, we work with trusted partners. And so that way they know that you are working with a contractor, or we contract with trusted partners. But the documentation, some documentation will have accessible.org named on the documentation. And then there is also increased liability that just comes with the fact that you are operating a business. you have a duty to and responsibility to your clients. You are contracting with clients, etc. And then there are also the prices, because if you are marking up accessible.org services, if the clients are looking at the different prices, then they may realize that there's a slight markup that might not even come into play, but that is a potential con if clients are very price conscious. All right, so an idea here is that if you are starting out, it's always easier just to start with referrals. And then if you're experiencing a lot of success, you may want to formalize what you're doing and indeed build that into a business that is going to white label the services. But it's always easy just to start and see if you're able to successfully refer clients who are going to lead to a sale. And then if that works, then obviously you can build up into larger operations. So that would be my recommendation here. And so if you would like to find out more, again, you can visit accessible.org/partnerships, or you can email me directly. My email is kris@accessible.org. And I will include links to more resources in the description. After I finished the video, I started thinking of all of these nice ways that referrals and white labeling could work in different situations. So I've added in this new slide titled Practical Framing, and we're just going to go over several scenarios where white labeling and referrals work really, really nicely. So the first scenario is you have an existing agency. So here you have an infrastructure in place, you already have a business in place, you already have an existing client base, and all you need to do is position accessibility to your clients. So you could tell your clients, hey, we've partnered with a reputable provider of digital accessibility services. So now we're going to include this in our offerings to you. And then if you have access to a network, you could also either white labeling or referrals could work really nicely here. Let's say you are a leader of an association, or you are a part of an association. You can present the white labeling or the referrals as an opportunity for this association to generate additional revenue while also serving the member base. And then here I have another bullet point. Let's say you're just looking for side income. So you're already working a job. You don't have time to establish a full-fledged business, but you do want to increase your supplemental income or add supplemental income. Here you could start referring accessible.org and generating that additional income. There are so many different people that need digital accessibility services. And so here, this would be a nice add-on where you're not having to build out a business yourself. The next bullet point I have is where you have, let's say you're already in the digital accessibility space, but a client comes to you with a larger project that you yourself cannot fulfill. So let's say you're a consultant and you have a client approach you about, let's say, working with 1,000 documents, right? And you can't fulfill that. Well, then that's something that you could easily source. And this could be just a one-off referral where you get that 10% commission on that project. And then on this next bullet point I have, one or two people who need help with accessibility. So in this case, you don't have there's not a large amount of clients that you can refer, and you're not continuously marketing. It's just a few people that who need help. And in this case, the referrals work really nicely because you can simply tell those people, hey, look, I recommend accessible.org. And if you need to contact them, they offer this service. And then you can tell me, look, I've referred two people to you today. Here are their names. And then I will let you know if they come through. So there, it's a really easy referral. And here you don't have this whole operation set up, but it is a way that you can refer people to someone you trust and at the same time get compensated for that marketing that you are providing. And then the last bullet point I have here isn't a scenario. Well, maybe it is, but I just have here no spam, no unethical marketing. This isn't a case where I don't want anybody to promote accessible.org unethically. So no, that sometimes I receive emails about we have all of the emails for an entire industry. No promoting like that. No spam. Nothing of the kind. Nothing where you're on Reddit just incessant, like they're just promoting accessible.org. Nothing like that. But just ways that are more organic and are ethical, that you are where you are promoting accessible.org. In these cases, I would love to set up a situation where you are referring clients and getting commission, or potentially there is a white label partnership in the works. So I wanted to add in this additional slide because I think it helps to run through some different scenarios. But again, I will include more information in the description.